The storm outside wasn't normal rain. It slammed against the city like the sky was angry at something. People ran past the small roadside restaurant, umbrellas flipping, clothes soaked, faces tense. Inside, the warm lights flickered softly, but even they couldn't hide the tension of a long, tiring evening. The door pushed open with a sharp creak, and a man stepped inside. Hood pulled low, jeans damp, shoulders heavy. Nobody glanced up. Nobody cared. He looked like someone the world had chewed up and spat back out. Someone used to being ignored. He walked slowly to the corner table, dripping water on the floor. The waiters exchanged looks of irritation. One rolled his eyes. Great. Another broke customer, he whispered. Another chuckled. Bet he'll order one coffee and sit 3 hours. None of them knew the truth. Under that old gray hoodie was Ethan Walsh, the same Ethan whose name flashed in financial news every week. The billionaire who built a tech empire from nothing. The man who had everything people dream about. Jets, penthouses, private islands, yet had never felt more alone. Tonight he had slipped out of a high-profile charity gala, tired of fake smiles and fake compliments, and walked through the storm just to feel real again. Nobody recognized him. And for once, that felt comforting. He sat quietly, staring at the raindrops racing down the window like tiny broken stories. His breathing was slow, deep, almost empty. The weight of invisible years hung over him. People saw Ethan the billionaire. No one saw Ethan the human. And then she appeared. A young waitress, around 20. Soft eyes. Simple ponytail. Worn-out shoes. Moving carefully like someone used to being yelled at for mistakes. But her face had a kindness that refused to die, no matter how hard life pushed her. She approached his table, not annoyed, not rushing, not fake. She placed a steaming cup of tea in front of him with hands slightly shaking from exhaustion. You look cold, she said. Gently. Please drink this. You'll feel better. Ethan blinked, stunned. He wasn't used to kindness without conditions. No menu? No order? He asked quietly. She shook her head. This one isn't for the bill. It's just tea. You look like you need it. A simple sentence. But those words went straight into the empty spaces inside him. Why, he asked, truly wanting to know. Why help a stranger? She smiled, not a big smile, not a practiced one, just a soft, tired, real smile. Because I know what it feels like to wish someone cared, she whispered. And I don't want anyone sitting alone in the rain to feel like no one sees them. Ethan's throat tightened. Nobody talked to him like that anymore. Nobody saw him like that anymore. Her kindness wasn't an act. It wasn't a strategy. It was simply who she was in a world that had forgotten how to be human. He noticed her hands, rough, tiny cuts from cleaning supplies. Her shirt slightly faded, collar stretched. Her eyes carrying stories she probably never told anyone. You work long hours? Ethan asked softly. She shrugged like it didn't matter. Double shift. My mom is sick, so I cover her hours too. Anyway, you drink your tea before it gets cold. She turned to leave and Ethan felt something strange, something he hadn't felt in years. Gratitude. Warmth. Connection. He didn't even know her name, but her presence felt more genuine than every millionaire he had shaken hands with at the gala. And she had no idea who he was. As she walked away to serve another table, her shoulders sagged for just 1 second, the weight of her life showing through the cracks of her smile. Ethan watched her, curious, stunned, and oddly protective. A billionaire disguised in a hoodie. A waitress fighting battles the world didn't see. And one small act of kindness that would soon tie their lives together in a way she never expected. Because Ethan Walsh didn't just drink that tea. He made a silent promise. Tonight, he would change her life. Forever. Ethan sat in the dim corner, watching the young waitress move across the restaurant floor. Even with the noise, the rush, and the storm shaking the windows, she moved with a strange quietness, like someone who had learned to survive without disturbing anyone. Her clothes were simple. Her shoes were worn. Her smile flickered in and out like a small candle, fighting the wind. She wasn't loud. She wasn't fast. She wasn't perfect. but she was kind. And that made her stand out more than anyone else in the room. She served a noisy family with patience. She cleaned messy tables without complaint. And when her strict manager scolded her for being slow, even though she was doing the work of two people, she simply nodded and apologized softly. Ethan felt something tighten inside his chest. This girl wasn't just working. She was carrying her whole world on her shoulders. Then he saw it. A tiny cough, barely audible. She placed a hand on her chest, trying to breathe deeply without being seen. Her breath came uneven, shaky. She took out a small inhaler and pressed it to her lips. A soft, weak puff came out. She shook it desperately. Empty. She hid it in her pocket at once, hoping no one noticed. But Ethan did. The manager called her sharply. Break time is over. Move. I wasn't, she started, but he cut her off. Move. She swallowed her words and hurried back to work, her breathing still strained. Ethan raised his hand gently. She came over with that tired, brave smile. Yes, sir? Would you like something else? He spoke softly. You're not okay. Her smile cracked. I'm fine, really. Please don't tell anyone. If the manager finds out I'm sick, he'll cut my hours. You shouldn't be working like this, Ethan said. I don't have a choice, she whispered. My mom is sick. I cover her shifts too. If I stop, we fall behind on rent. So, I just keep going. Her voice held no anger. No bitterness. Just quiet acceptance, the kind that comes from fighting too many battles alone. What's your name? Ethan asked. She blinked. Why? Because I want to remember the person who treated me with kindness. Her eyes softened. Lily. He repeated her name slowly. Lily, you deserve better. She gave a tiny laugh. People like me don't get to choose better. We just survive. Before Ethan could reply, a loud thunder shook the entire building. The lights flickered and suddenly shut off. Darkness filled the room. Customers gasped. A child screamed. Someone dropped a glass. In that confusion, Ethan heard a sound that cut through everything. A weak gasp. A soft thud. A body collapsing. Lily. Ethan called in the darkness. No answer. His heart jumped. Phone flashlights lit up around the room, creating scattered spots of light. And then he saw her. Lying near the counter, curled on the floor, her breath short and panicked. Ethan rushed to her without thinking. The hood fell off his head, but he didn't care who recognized him. None of that mattered. He knelt beside her. Lily, look at me. Her eyelids trembled. Her fingers shook. Her breathing was fast, shallow, slipping out of control. I can't breathe, she whispered. He lifted her gently, supporting her head. I'm here. I've got you. People stared, confused, scared. Some backed away. But Ethan only held her tighter, whispering, stay with me. Don't close your eyes. She tried to speak, but her voice broke like glass. Her body went limp for a second, a terrifying second. Ethan felt his heart drop. This wasn't just exhaustion. This wasn't just stress. This was an emergency. And as the storm raged outside, he realized one thing with chilling clarity. If he didn't act right now, he might lose the girl who showed him kindness when the whole world ignored him. Rain hammered the streets as Ethan carried Lily out of the dark restaurant, her body cold against his chest. Doors slammed shut behind him. People watched from inside, but none stepped forward. The storm soaked him instantly, but he didn't care. All he could hear was her weak breathing, slipping, fading. A taxi rolled past, splashing water. Another sped through without stopping. Ethan's jaw clenched. He wasn't used to being ignored. People normally lined up to serve him. But tonight, in a hoodie, he was invisible again. Please, he whispered, lifting her face gently. Stay with me, Lily. Her eyes fluttered. I can't breathe, feels tight. Her voice broke mid-sentence. Fear stabbed him hard. He stopped a passing car. Please. I need help. She needs a hospital. The driver shook his head, scared of the storm, and drove off. For the first time in years, Ethan felt powerless. He reached into his pocket with shaking hands, pulled out his phone, and dialed 911. Emergency, a comm operator said. A girl collapsed, Ethan said breathlessly. She's not breathing right. She needs help now. Location: Maple Street, outside Carson's diner. Stay with her. An ambulance is on the way. He pressed the phone to his chest, holding Lily closer. Lily, listen to me, he whispered. Help is coming. You're not alone. Her hand twitched. Sorry for the trouble. Trouble? Ethan's voice cracked. You gave me tea when nobody else cared. You were kind. To a stranger. I'm not letting anything happen to you. Her head rested against him, breath shallow, like each one was a small battle. Lightning flashed and Ethan saw her face clearly, pale, scared, fighting. The ambulance siren echoed in the distance. Hold on, Ethan whispered. Just hold on. Minutes felt like hours. Rain poured harder. A strong wind almost pushed him back. But Ethan didn't move. He shielded her with his own body as if the storm could break her. Finally, red lights appeared, cutting through the night. The ambulance screeched to a stop. Paramedics rushed out. What happened? One asked. She collapsed inside during a blackout, Ethan said quickly. She has asthma. Her inhalers. Empty. The paramedics lifted her onto a stretcher. Ethan followed, refusing to let go of her hand until a medic gently separated them. Sir, we need space to help her. Ethan stepped back, heart pounding. He watched them place an oxygen mask over her face. Watched her chest rise a little easier. Watched some color return to her cheeks. Relief washed through him, but not enough to calm him. Can I come with her? He asked. The medic hesitated. Family only. For a second, Ethan froze. Family. He wasn't family. He was just a stranger she gave tea to. But he looked at Lily, then at the storm, and something inside him hardened. She saved my life tonight, Ethan said, voice steady. Please, let me be there for her. The medic studied his face, then nodded. Fine. Get in. The doors slammed behind them. The ambulance roared forward, bouncing through flooded streets. Ethan sat beside her, gripping the edge of the seat. Lily's eyes opened slightly. You didn't have to come. Yes, he whispered. I did. A paramedic adjusted her oxygen. You're lucky she's strong, he said. If you hadn't come out when you did. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. The thought scared him. Lily looked at him through the mask. Her eyes were weak but warm. Why are you helping me? He held her gaze. Because you helped me first. Another cough shook her body. Ethan leaned forward slightly. And Lily, he said softly. I'm not letting you go back to that life. Not after tonight. Her eyes widened just a little, confusion, hope, fear, all mixed. But before she could speak, the ambulance screeched to a stop outside St. Charles Medical Center. And what waited inside would change everything. Because Lily was about to learn who Ethan really was. And Ethan was about to discover a truth even he wasn't ready for. Anna walked into the quiet staff lounge with a stack of towels in her hands, but the moment she stepped inside, she froze. Michael Reed, yes, the Michael Reed, was sitting alone at the small round table, sleeves rolled up, eyes lowered as he scrolled through something on his phone. He looked nothing like the city's most feared, most respected billionaire. Looked tired, human. And for a second, Anna almost forgot to breathe. She tried to slip past quietly, hoping he wouldn't notice her, but he lifted his head at the soft squeak of her shoes. Anna, he said gently, like he'd been waiting for her. Her heart jumped. Sir, I didn't know anyone was in here. I can come back later. No, he said, standing up slowly. Stay a minute. The air shifted. Her hands trembled around the towels, and she didn't know if it was fear, confusion, or the strange warmth she always felt around him. I saw what happened earlier, he said. In the lobby. With those boys. A wave of embarrassment washed over her face. Please, sir, don't bring that up. But Michael didn't look away. His voice softened to something deeper, steadier. You have nothing to be ashamed of. She pressed her lips together. People don't think like you do. That's their problem, he said, stepping closer. His tone carried the same weight that moved markets, that made cities listen. Not yours. Anna couldn't look at him. The room felt too small, too loud, too dangerous for her heart. She turned toward the laundry cart, pretending to arrange things. But he spoke again. Quiet. Almost careful. Anna, he said. You don't have to hide your daughter anymore. Her hands stopped moving. Time froze. She turned slowly. How do you know about Lily? His eyes softened just a little. I saw her yesterday. Behind the supply room. She looked scared. Hungry. He paused. And she looked exactly like you. Anna felt her throat burn. She didn't want this conversation. She didn't want pity. She didn't want anyone, especially not him, seeing the part of her life she fought hardest to protect. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean for her to be seen. I have no one else to watch her. I can't lose this job. You're not losing anything, he said. Not on my watch. Her breath shook. She had heard rumors, stories of Michael helping entire towns, funding hospitals, saving schools. But hearing him say those words to her felt unreal. He took one slow step closer. Anna, look at me. She did. And the moment her eyes met his, something inside her cracked open. She didn't see a billionaire. She didn't see a man from a world she could never reach. She saw someone who actually cared enough to notice her pain. He pointed to the chair. Seat. Please. She obeyed. Not because he was her boss, but because she couldn't stand under the weight of his kindness any longer. Michael sat across from her. You've been doing everything alone, haven't you? She nodded once. Just once. But it was enough to make a tear slip down her cheek. I'm fine, she tried to lie. You're not, he said softly. But you will be. Those words felt like a warm blanket over a cold wound. The room grew silent. Heavy. Electric. And then, Michael reached into his pocket and placed a small white card on the table. Between them, a card that had more power than Anna fully understood. Tomorrow, he said. Meet me in my office. There's something important we need to talk about. Her heart stopped. What kind of important? He looked directly into her eyes. The kind, he said, that changes everything. What does Michael want? What life-changing plan is he about to reveal? Anna barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, her mind replayed Michael's words from yesterday. Tomorrow, there's something important we need to talk about. Important? From him? That alone felt unreal. Before sunrise, she tiptoed around the tiny room she and Lily shared. The walls were thin. The window was cracked. The heater made a rattling sound in the cold morning. But Lily slept peacefully, holding her stuffed bear like it was the most precious thing she owned. Anna brushed a kiss on her forehead and whispered, Mommy's going to fix everything. I promise. By the time she reached the top floor of Reed Towers, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Everything on that floor looked expensive. Smooth marble, big windows, quiet hallways, where even footsteps sounded rich. She knocked softly. Come in, Michael said. She stepped inside. He was standing near the window, looking over the entire city like he was thinking 3 steps ahead of the world. But when he saw her, his expression changed. Instantly, softer, calmer, like he had been waiting. Good morning, Anna, he said. Please sit. She sat carefully, like the chair might break under the weight of her fear. You don't need to be nervous, Michael said. You're safe here. I don't know what you want to talk about, she whispered. That's why I asked you to come, he replied gently. He opened a drawer and took out a thin folder. When he placed it on the desk, Anna felt her breath catch. Something in her heart warned her. Today was not normal. Michael opened the folder. Inside were papers, printed forms, and a small photo of Lily, clipped to the top. Anna blinked fast. Why is my daughter's picture here? I told you yesterday, he said quietly. I saw her hiding behind the supply room, and I couldn't forget it. Anna's throat tightened. Sir, please. I don't want any trouble. This isn't trouble, he said. It's opportunity. He turned the folder so it faced her. These are scholarship forms. Full scholarship. The best private school in the city. She stared at the papers like they were glowing. Books, meals, transport, everything, he added. All paid. A tear fell before she could stop it. I can't accept something like this. You can, he said firmly. You must. Your daughter deserves a real chance. Anna shook her head. People like you don't help people like me. That's where you're wrong. Michael's voice softened even more. When I was young, someone helped me. Someone who didn't have to. Someone who saw something in me before I saw it myself. So when I saw Lily hiding in that hallway, I saw myself. Anna covered her mouth with her hands. She couldn't stop crying now. You've been doing everything alone, he continued softly. You don't have to anymore. His words broke her completely. I don't want to be a burden, she whispered. You're not, he said. And your daughter definitely isn't. She's just a child who needs stability, care, and a chance to dream. He moved closer, not touching her, but close enough that she felt the warmth of kindness she hadn't felt in years. Take these papers, he said. Think about it tonight. And tomorrow give me your answer. She wiped her tears. Why are you doing this for me? Michael held her gaze, steady and sincere. Because no one should have to hide their own child, he said. And I'm not letting your daughter grow up feeling invisible. Anna felt the world shift beneath her feet. Her life, Lily's life, everything was changing. And then Michael spoke again, voice low, calm, and so sure that it made her heart stop. Anna, this is only the beginning. Her eyes widened. Beginning of what? He smiled softly, almost secretively. You'll see. What is Michael planning next? How far will his help go? What future is he building? For Anna and Lily? Dylan stood outside the hospital, breath fogging in the cool night air, eyes fixed on the glowing windows above. Inside those walls, the woman who had unknowingly rebuilt him was fighting for her life. Just hours earlier, everything felt like a dream. Maria laughing in the warm lights of the diner, Gabriel swinging between them, the three of them feeling like a family that destiny forgot to assemble. Now, it felt like the universe was testing whether Dylan was worthy of that happiness. He walked through the sliding doors, shoulders tight, breath shallow. The waiting room was dim and almost empty, except for Gabriel curled on one of the chairs, clutching his backpack like a shield. He wasn't crying, but his eyes looked older, like he had aged years in a few hours. Dylan sat beside him quietly. The kid leaned against his arm without a word. Is Mom gonna be okay? Gabriel whispered. Dylan closed his eyes for a second. He was a billionaire who had survived boardrooms, billion-dollar losses, betrayals, headlines. He could face everything. But this was the first time he felt powerless. She's strong, he said finally, voice rough. And I'm not leaving until she's safe. Gabriel nodded. That small movement hit Dylan harder than anything. This wasn't just a child looking for comfort. It was a boy who had spent years being the man of the house, finally letting someone else take the weight for a moment. Hours passed slowly. Nurses rushed by, machines beeped behind closed doors. Every now and then Dylan's mind replayed the accident. Rain, a truck skidding, Maria pushing Gabriel aside. She saved her son without hesitating. He admired her for her strength. Now he feared for it. A doctor finally stepped out, face serious but calm. You're here for Maria Alvarez? Dylan and Gabriel stood up instantly. She's stable, the doctor said. The impact was strong, but she's a fighter. She'll need rest, but she's out of danger. Gabriel let out a breath that sounded like a sob and laugh mixed together. Dylan felt his entire body unclench. Relief washed over him so fast it almost made him dizzy. She asked for you, the doctor added. Dylan blinked. Me. The doctor nodded. Both of you. They walked down the long hallway, each step echoing. When they entered the room, Maria looked tired, wrapped in wires and blankets, but her eyes still held that warmth that had pulled Dylan in from the first day. You two look like you just fought a hurricane, she teased weakly. Dylan stepped closer, voice low. You scared us. She smiled. I scare myself sometimes. Gabriel rushed to her side, hugging her gently. She stroked his hair, whispering reassuring words. Dylan watched silently. This small, fragile moment somehow felt grander than any billion-dollar deal he ever handled. Then Maria looked at him. "You stayed," she said. "Of course I stayed." There was something different in her eyes now. Not gratitude, not friendship, something deeper. Something she didn't dare name. Something Dylan felt in his chest like a pulse. "I thought you'd just walk away," she said. "People usually do." "I don't," Dylan replied simply. For a few seconds, the room felt suspended, like time paused to let them breathe. Then Maria gave the smallest shake of her head, as if scolding herself. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "You have a whole world waiting for you. And none of it matters if you're not in it," he said before he could stop himself. Her eyes softened. Gabriel watched them both, sensing something he couldn't quite understand yet, but feeling safe for the first time in years. And in that quiet room, Dylan realized he didn't just care about Maria. He didn't just admire her strength. He belonged here, even if he didn't deserve it yet, even if he still had to earn it. And destiny wasn't done testing him, because the next choice he made would define everything. The morning light broke through the blinds of the hospital room like a slow blessing. Maria slept peacefully, her breathing soft and steady. Gabriel was curled up in the chair next to her, his small hand resting in hers. And Dylan stood by the window, staring at the sunrise like a man who'd been given a second life. He had been awake all night, thinking, really thinking, for the first time in years. Not about deals, not about shareholders, not about the empire with his name stamped on every floor, but about this room, this woman, this kid, this strange, fragile, unexpected thing that felt more valuable than everything he owned. The door opened quietly. It was Maria's older sister, Elena, who paused when she saw him. "You're still here?" she asked, eyes studying him like she was trying to figure out who he really was. "I'm not leaving her alone," Dylan said. Elena walked closer. "She told me about you. Said you're different." He didn't answer, because he wasn't sure what that meant anymore. "You know she's been hurt before," Elena added. "People walk and take whatever piece of her they need and walk out." Dylan swallowed. "I'm not one of those people." Elena gave a small nod. "Then prove it." She left. But her words stayed. A few hours later, Maria woke up. Her eyes met Dylan's immediately, as if her mind had been searching for him even in sleep. "You didn't go home?" she asked softly. "No," he said. "I meant what I said." She smiled faintly, but there was doubt in her gaze. Not because she didn't trust him, but because she had spent years learning how to survive disappointment. "Dylan, you're a billionaire," she whispered. "People like you don't belong in my world. I don't want to be another story, another good memory you leave behind." "Then don't be," he replied. She frowned a little, confused. And Dylan stepped closer, voice low, steady, and honest in a way he wasn't used to being. "I built a world where everyone wanted something from me. Money, status, access. But you," he exhaled. "You're the first person who looked at me like I'm just human." Maria's eyes softened. He saw tears gathering, but she blinked them back. "You can't say things like that," she whispered. "Why not?" "Because I'll believe you." "And what's so wrong with that?" Dylan asked. She opened her mouth, but no words came. For the first time, Maria Alvarez, who survived storms, heartbreak, and raising a child alone, looked afraid. Not of him, but of hoping. Suddenly Gabriel stirred, waking up. He looked at Dylan, then at Maria, then back at him. "Are you gonna leave when Mom gets better?" the boy asked. Dylan froze. Maria closed her eyes. Gabriel's voice was small, but sharp with truth. "Because people always leave." Dylan kneeled in front of him. "Look at me," he said. Gabriel did. "I'm not leaving," Dylan promised. "Not now. Not later. Not when things get hard. I'm here. And I'm staying." Gabriel stared at him, searching, testing, then nodded slowly, like a kid finally letting himself believe in something bigger than fear. Maria's tears finally fell. "Why?" she whispered. "Why us? You have everything." "No," Dylan said. "I have money. I have power. I have buildings with my name on the doors. He looked at her, eyes steady. But with you too. I have a reason. The room fell silent. Warm. Honest. Real. Outside, the world moved on, cars, noise, business, chaos. But in here, something new began. Something fragile but fiercely alive. Dylan took Maria's hand. She didn't pull away. Gabriel leaned against him. And for the first time in a long, long time, Dylan Black, the billionaire who lived above the clouds, finally felt home. If this story touched your heart even a little, give it a like. And if you want more soul-shaking stories like this, make sure you subscribe.